So thank you for the warm welcome. So, hello guys. I'm having a talk about Ionic. Who already knows Ionic? Wow, so many. How many already use it? Like 10 people in the room? Okay. So, I'm going to have a talk about Ionic and my experience and best practices with it. I've been working as a freelancer for more than 15 years for different companies, mostly on Java web projects as a backend developer, but I also like mobile development a lot, especially Android development. Although I'm a Java developer, I was working lately for the Erste Bank on a new version of their net banking system, George. And my group there was also developing a sub-project in AngularJS. Who is actually, we heard a lot about AngularJS today. Who is using it? A little bit more. Do you like it? No? Okay. Okay, then I try to skip the part about me loving AngularJS. So, but maybe I can convince you. Let's see. So I have a strong Java background. I love Java, and I always wanted to keep in touch with the front end. And not only the front end, like the web front end, but also the front ends, because web applications are also front ends of a service, of a different service. My very first commercial job was 2001 for Siemens, when I was working on a prototype for mobile chatting, like Skype was not out there yet, it was ICQ, so an ICQ clone with J2ME. Who knows J2ME yet? Wow, okay, I feel for you. Since this job in 2001, I fell in love, although I used J2EE, I fell in love with mobile development, and I was even more happy after Android came out, 2008, because Android apps are developed in Java, or Java-ish. So, over the time, I developed a couple of Android apps, some commercial as a freelancer, and others just for fun. Today, I know that they are called pet projects, like your personal, small, little projects you like so much. And I made this project just for fun, but suddenly I realized that one of my apps gained far more attention than I expected, and that was the Like a Hipster app. Yay! The Like a Hipster is a fun project that started with a friend and my cat, and it became more popular over the first months, and far more than we expected. Due to severe group pressure and the success of the Android app, because I started just with the Android app, I had to think about developing an iOS version too. Personally, I love to play around with new technologies, so I thought, how hard can that possibly be to program an iOS version of that? So, what about all these other mobile operating systems? Whoops, one too much. So, mobile development is always a fight, so you can distinguish which one is which, because many different operating systems and devices are there. There are not only this fight between the companies, but also the fight between the customers, which phone is better, especially the fight between Android and iOS. So when you want to implement the mobile version of your service, you have to consider to implement a super responsive mobile-optimized website, or what most companies do, a couple of different native apps for the various OSs. So you end up, but in the end, you end up with many different implementations of the same stuff. I mean, would not be the worst job ever to work in such an environment, but so you end up implementing the same stuff for different silos that is pretty hard to maintain. So you develop in 3 different teams: the web team, the Android team, and the iOS team. Maybe also additionally a Windows mobile team and a BlackBerry team and whatever. Then, so this the cause for this isolation in teams is that most developers specialize on a certain language, and not many are truly multilingual, let alone multi-OS. So the solution is Ionic for the win. So Ionic is the self-called, beautiful, free and open source front-end SDK for developing hybrid mobile apps with web technologies for the latest mobile devices. It utilizes the mobile-first approach and offers a library of mobile-optimized HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript components, gestures, and tools for building highly interactive native apps. So it uses you use one code base, and it is also cross-platform focused. So by building just one single AngularJS web app with Cordova extensions, you now can deliver up to 8 different native mobile apps. Android, iOS, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, Ubuntu, interestingly, Firefox OS, WebOS, Fire OS, and last but not least, the web service itself. So, but how does it work? Ionic is built on top of a giant, meaning AngularJS. And we already heard a lot of AngularJS today, so I keep it short. AngularJS is the self-called super-heroic JavaScript model view whatever framework. They call it whatever because whatever. It's not model view controller, but whatever. A state-of-the-art JavaScript tool for rich and robust single-page web applications that offer a lot that JavaScript alone does not, namely structure. And we, Java developers, love structure. In jQuery apps, the DOM often represents the model, but with Angular, the business logic is decoupled from the DOM manipulation. So, and Angular offers a lot of basic stuff, such as data binding, scope separation, dependency injection, and so on. And additional to AngularJS, you have Cordova. Because when you develop a native app, the really interesting thing is the implementation of the native device APIs. So Apache Cordova is from Apache, is a tool to access native device APIs and functions that also supports offline scenarios. More commonly known is Adobe PhoneGap, that is a distribution of Cordova. And some core plugin APIs are something like an accelerometer when you want to track the shake gesture, something like camera, file handling, in-app browser, vibration, geolocation, something like that. So all an app developer needs. So now we merge it all together, Angular and Cordova, despite HTML5 functions and the framework AngularJS and Cordova, which merge perfectly together. Ionic also offers a platform for integrating services like push notifications and analytics. And out of the box, SaaS support for the CSS part and great build tools. It is an actively developed and continued framework, and there's a huge community around it. It already persists for a couple of years, so sometimes, for the most problems, you also find the answers on Stack Overflow. Ionic also offers a web app that is quite interesting, since you can check the implementations directly on your device, but only the web implementation. So it's a fine tool. Then there is also live reload, even on your device. That's also very interesting. And logging is integrating during development. With Ionic, you can really fast prototype, and the motto is develop once, deploy everywhere. So one of the core components is Ionic comes with a powerful command-line interface, including the build tool itself. It wraps Cordova. You can also use Cordova itself. And Ionic offers this one command-line interface for creating, building, testing, deploying your Ionic apps onto any platform you want. I didn't want to bore you with a lot of code examples, since this is a keynote and every one of us is a keynoter today. So all of us got promoted today. I just want to show you the command line tool itself. You need just these 6 or 5 when you already installed npm commands to start an app on your device. The first one is obviously to install Ionic itself. Then the second one is to generate the projects. I called it Awesome App. There are also a couple of templates you can use. So when you start a tabs app, so you already have the tabs there, and you just have to fill in the stuff you want. So like you have to rename it, basically. The second one is to add some platforms. What is the most interesting part in Ionic, since this is the key feature to it. So you can add iOS, Android, Windows Phone, browser, also interesting, and which just deploys you the Angular part. And after that, you can build it, emulate it, and also run it on your device. Tools, native implementations only make sense with the use of device features. So you can also add some Cordova plugins, such as this is just 3 examples what I use: device motion for the shaking gesture, vibration, and native audio to show you some sound. And 3 other interesting commands are Ionic resources. It's pretty awesome, since iOS is so disturbingly complicated, because you just upload one PNG for the logo itself and one PNG for the splash screen, and Ionic magically generates you just all the other pictures in all the other resolutions. So you don't have to do it yourself. This second command, Ionic, wait, I have a laser pointer here. I had to run. Live reload is the one you can use to start the app, connect it in developer mode. This is pretty awesome because you see it directly. You don't have to go through all these development cycles. And the last one is the serve with the -lab version. Serve means it opens, the AngularJS app opens in a browser, and you can use it directly. And this looks like this. So this is the Ionic lab. Right here. I had to fight with my cat for the laser pointer. So Ionic Lab, it starts this is Chrome, and you see what the difference looks like on iOS or Android. So in this case, for the Like a Hipster app, I have here down this menu bar, and in Android version, it's up there because it's the common look and feel to have it on the bottom for iOS and the other way around for Android. And when you code and you save, not only typing, but save it, it's automatically with live reload updated here. And you see the differences just instantly. And once you also deploy and release it, it might look like something like this. This is a screenshot of the iOS version itself. You see here that this is the proof that it is run on iOS. And the other version is just a web representation. And you see here the differences between the web representation and the iOS version. Since the layout is completely different, usually you use your phone in portrait mode and browsers in landscape mode. So it's highly adaptive or responsive, the user interface. And it's all out of the box. That's so nice for it. So obviously, for the web version, not all the plugins are working, because I mean you can just take your notebook and check it and see what happens. But yeah, all the Cordova plugins are not working. So coming to the best practices, my personal best practices are I use WebStorm or any other JetBrains products as IDEs instead of text editors. Also for mobile development and also for web development, because WebStorm or other JetBrains products have integrated build tools, highlighting, debugging, and etc. So live reload. Another learning is live reload is pretty awesome. We also used it for our Angular project at the bank for George, and another best practice I can tell you in general, not only for these projects, is release soon, release often, and embrace your beta testers because they help me so much. So lessons learned is, first of all, I have to tell you, iOS development sucks. I mean, it sucks really hard. I also wrote a rant about iOS development on Medium and also on Electro-Paper, and it's so unintuitive, and as in iOS development feels like being squeezed into something super complicated. All these clicks, additional clicks you have to do there. So, and another learning is, not very surprisingly, not everything is working perfectly in the native implementations. Sure, you develop with this browser and with this Ionic lab and so on, and then you deploy it on your phone, and you see, not everything is working perfectly. And the last point of lessons learned is, Windows development sucks also. So my rant is going to follow up on this one. So, thank you a lot. Any questions? What are your experiences regarding App Store, Play Store approval for... Again, what are your experiences regarding approval? Yeah, you can also read it in my rant on Electro-Paper, that this approval things for the iTunes store are totally nonsense. I mean, for Android, you just upload your APK, this is the binary file, and it gets like, after 3 hours or so, it gets just published into production. And for iOS, it's so complicated because also for the beta versions, you have to go through a review, and you have to wait like 3 days, up to 1 week for a beta version, and you cannot just simply hotfix something. I mean, you can ask them, there is a contact form, you can ask them, please, can you please, this, yeah. So there is no process for that. Yeah, it's exactly the same for the web viewer wrapped apps. So next one, you know Java, programming in C#. Is this a job offer? since, I don't, who? Next question. What is Xamarin? Someone has to explain it to me. I don't know. That, Ah. I don't, yeah, C#, whatever. Yeah, fuck that shit. So, do you also try React Native? I totally anticipated this question since I wanted, at the beginning, I wanted to use a React Native implementation because I wanted to try new technologies, but then I stumbled upon Ionic. So, yeah, advantages are for me definitely that I'm quite familiar with AngularJS, so it's not so hard to get to know Ionic, since it's just an Angular app. And I was working now for almost 2 years on an Angular project. Yeah, React Native uses React, obviously, and also this Flux framework. And yeah, so you have to learn when you don't know React yet, you have to learn 2 new frameworks, so it was a little bit more. You know, I'm a lazy developer, I'm a pragmatic developer, so I just use Ionic because it uses AngularJS. But there's Meteor. You can use React together with Meteor or AngularJS. So if you like to choose both, there's a 3rd framework. So, yeah. Swift. Yeah, not only Apple pushes Swift. I don't hope so that Apple won't let pass non-native apps to the App Store, because there are many huge apps that are not implemented in Swift. And since there are some rumors going on that Google thinks about maybe trying Swift also for mobile development, I think that this is a rumor Apple started, to be honest. So, another one? Which one? What are your thoughts on Ionic 2 with Ionic Native? Haven't tried it. Next question. Now, it's not possible to compile an iOS app without a Mac. Yeah, do you also see this in my rant on Electrobabe or on Medium? That's also a reason why I really hate iOS development so much, because I started virtualizing OS X on my Windows machine, and it was also a little bit challenging. And if anyone is interested, I can really show you the virtual machine. It's working, and it was pretty hard work to get it done, but it also works. So I didn't have to buy a Mac. This is also something since a couple of years, so they changed it that you are now allowed to install OS X on non-Apple products, so you can virtualize it.
Thank you, Barbara, for the wonderful talk on Ionic.